Olympic cheating isn't just about steroids and shady urine samples. We're talking fake disabilities, illegal horse tricks, rigged swords, car-assisted marathons, and entire countries, turning doping into a national project. Gold may glitter, but some athletes made sure it came with a scandal, a ban, and one truly embarrassing footnote in history. Number 1. Hans-Gunnar Lilienthal. Mexico City, 1968. The Olympics introduced drug testing for the very first time, and Hans-Gunnar Lilienthal immediately made history for all the wrong reasons. His shocking performance enhancer, not steroids, not some secret Soviet lab cocktail. 2 beers. Yes, 2 beers before the pistol shooting event, apparently, to calm his nerves. Sweden had won bronze in the team event, but once Lilienthal's alcohol test came back positive, the entire squad had to return their medals. Imagine training for years, climbing onto the Olympic podium, then losing everything because your teammate treated the competition like happy hour. In a sport where steady hands can decide victory, even a little liquid courage was enough to cross the line. It was absurd, embarrassing, and strangely iconic. 1 man, 2 beers, and an Olympic bronze medal gone flat. Number 2. Cameron Vanderberg. Stroke smashed the world record and walked away with Olympic gold. Sounds perfect, right? Not quite. Only 1. In a race decided by fractions of a second, those extra kicks were not exactly harmless decoration. Bold strategy: confess after winning and still keep the prize. It was fast, controversial, and almost comically honest. 1 gold medal, 1 world record, and a few illegal kicks hiding beneath the surface. Number 3. Andrea Raducan. Sydney 2000 should have been Andrea Raducan's fairy tale Olympic moment. The Romanian gymnast helped her team win gold, then grabbed the all-around title for herself, proving she could fly, flip, and land under pressure like a machine built for glory. Then came the plot twist. A drug test found pseudoephedrine in her system, a banned substance that came from cold medicine given by the team doctor. That's right, her Olympic dream crashed. Not because of some secret doping lab, but because of a stuffy nose. Officials later cleared Raducan of intentional wrongdoing, but the medal was still taken away. Because apparently, in Olympic justice, not guilty can still mean hand over the gold. She argued the medicine may have hurt her performance rather than helped it, which makes the whole scandal even more absurd. 1 bad cold, 1 bad prescription, and 1 champion left with history's most frustrating footnote. Number 4. East Germany State Doping Program. This is where Olympic cheating stops looking like one athlete making a bad choice and starts looking like a government project with tracksuits. At the 1976 Montreal Games, East Germany stunned the world by winning 40 gold medals, with its women's swimming team alone taking 11. On paper, it looked like discipline, national pride, and superhuman training. Behind the curtain, it was a chemically boosted medal factory. Years later, it was revealed that many athletes had been given performance-enhancing drugs as part of a state-backed system, with officials treating young competitors less like people and more like patriotic lab results. And when there were leftover substances, they were allegedly dumped into the St. Lawrence River, because nothing screams, "We have nothing to hide," like throwing evidence into the water. East Germany didn't just cheat, it mass-produced victory. Number 5. Tony Andre Hansen. Norwegian rider Tony Andre Hansen had his Olympic moment turn into a full-blown stable scandal at the 2008 Beijing Games. His horse Camiro helped Norway claim bronze in team jumping, but the celebration did not last long. A drug test found capsaicin in the horse's system, a banned substance that can make a horse's legs more sensitive and potentially push it to jump sharper. Hansen was barred from the individual event, and Norway's entire team had to hand back its bronze medals. He appealed twice, but both attempts went nowhere. And yes, somehow the horse also got suspended because Olympic justice apparently has paperwork for everyone, hooves included. Hansen argued his case, but the damage was done: one positive test, one lost medal, and one very unlucky horse dragged into a scandal it definitely could not explain at the press conference. Number 6. Michelle Smith. Irish swimmer Michelle Smith arrived at the 1996 Atlanta Games as a surprise sensation and left as one of the biggest stories in the pool. She won 3 gold medals and 1 bronze, turning herself into a national hero almost overnight. But the fairy tale quickly picked up a very suspicious chlorine smell. 2 years later, the International Swimming Federation banned Smith for 4 years after investigators said she had tampered with a urine sample by using alcohol. The twist: she was not stripped of her Olympic medals, even though the controversy followed her like a shadow. Reports also linked her to a positive test for androstenedione, a testosterone precursor that was not officially banned by the Olympic Committee until 1997. Smith appealed, but the ban stood, and her elite swimming career was basically finished at 28. She kept the medals, lost the trust, and became proof that in Olympic history, sometimes the gold still shines, but the story behind it smells pretty fishy. Number 7. Marion Jones. Marion Jones didn't just arrive at Sydney 2000. She exploded onto the track like America's golden superhero. 3 gold medals, 2 bronze, superstar status, magazine covers patriotic glory, the whole Olympic dream package. But behind the victory lap was one of the biggest doping scandals in sports history. For years, Jones denied using performance-enhancing drugs, even as allegations followed her from high school to the Olympic podium. Then the truth finally caught up. She admitted she had lied under oath about using banned substances, and the Olympic fairy tale collapsed fast. Her medals were stripped, her records were wiped, and she even served 6 months in prison. That is not exactly the usual post-Olympic endorsement tour. Jones went from national icon to cautionary tale, proving that speed can win races, but lies have serious stamina. In the end, the medals were gone, the legacy was wrecked, and the victory lap turned into a courtroom walk of shame. Number 8. Dong Fangxiao. Dong Fangxiao's Olympic scandal wasn't about a suspicious needle or a secret lab. It was about a birthday that apparently needed a little creative editing. At the 2000 Sydney Games, she helped China's women's gymnastics team win bronze, officially listed as 17 years old and perfectly eligible to compete. Case closed. Not quite. Years later, when Dong registered as a technical official for the 2008 Beijing Games, her paperwork told a very different story. The new records suggested she had actually been 14 in Sydney, 2 years too young for senior Olympic competition. Suddenly, that bronze medal came with a giant question mark and a calendar problem nobody could cartwheel away from. China's team was eventually stripped of the medal, while Dong's career had already ended painfully early due to bone necrosis. It was a brutal reminder that in gymnastics, athletes may be tiny, fearless, and impossibly talented, but the rulebook still knows how to count birthdays. Number 9. Tonya Harding. Tonya Harding's Olympic scandal had everything: ice ambition, betrayal, and a knee attack so infamous, it practically begged Hollywood to turn it into a movie. Before the 1994 U.S. Figure Skating Championships, her rival Nancy Kerrigan was attacked by Shane Stant, who had been hired through people connected to Harding's then-husband, Jeff Gillooly. The plan was brutally simple: injure Kerrigan badly enough to clear the path for Harding, because apparently landing a triple axel was not dramatic enough. Kerrigan recovered in time for the Winter Olympics and won silver, while Harding finished 8th, which has to be one of the most awkward. Was it worth it moments in sports history? Harding later accepted a plea deal for obstruction of justice and received a lifetime ban from the USO. Figure Skating Association. The scandal turned Olympic rivalry into a crime story on skates. Number 10. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was supposed to be Canada's sprinting king, the man who blasted down the track in Seoul, 1988, and made the 100-meter final look like a demolition job. He crossed the line first, smashed the world record, and instantly became an Olympic legend. Then came the urine test, the tiny cup that turned a national celebration into a public relations funeral. Johnson tested positive for anabolic steroids, and the gold medal vanished almost as fast as he had run for it. For years, he had denied doping rumors, but the scandal finally caught him at full speed. His victory was erased, his record was stripped, and his name became shorthand for Olympic disgrace. Some argued plenty of athletes were using drugs at the time, and Johnson was simply the unlucky one who got caught. Maybe. But everyone else was cheating too is not exactly the defense of champions. One explosive race, one positive test, and Canada's golden moment went from historic triumph to steroid-powered punchline. Number 11. Chinese, South Korean, and Indonesian badminton teams. The 2012 London Olympics gave badminton its strangest scandal, elite athletes trying very, very hard to look terrible. Serves dumped into the net, shots sailing out rallies dying like bad theater fans, booed officials, warned them, petition, and more like a rehearsal for how not to play badminton. The strategy may have exposed a flaw in the tournament format, but the rule was clear: athletes are supposed to actually try. 8 players were thrown out for conduct considered abusive and damaging to the sport. It was a masterclass in tactical stupidity. Chase an easier path to gold accidentally become the reason everyone remembers the event for all the wrong reasons. Number 12. East Germany Luge Squad. The East German luge team came into the 1968 Grenoble Winter Olympics looking dangerously fast, maybe too fast. Their star Ortrun Enderlein was expected to dominate, and for a moment she did. East Germany appeared to grab first, second, and fourth place, turning the icy track into their personal speedway. Then officials checked the runners on their sleds, and things got suspicious. Snow placed on the steel blades reportedly hissed and vaporized, leading judges to conclude the sleds had been heated to melt the ice and gain extra speed. In other words, not just sliding on the track, cooking it. The team was disqualified, though the case remains controversial, with some East German officials insisting they were innocent. Still, as Olympic scandals go, your sled was too hot is a beautifully absurd way to lose glory. Number 13. Boris Onyshchenko. Boris Onyshchenko was a world-class Soviet modern pentathlete, which apparently was not enough, because why rely on talent when you can bring a gadget straight out of a spy movie, even when his blade did not actually touch his opponent? Subtle, absolutely not. Officials inspected his épée and found it had been rigged with a hidden button and wiring system that could trigger the electronic scoring device without contact. Basically, he had turned Olympic fencing into a fake hit arcade game. Once exposed, the disgrace was instant. His teammates reportedly shunned him, his awards were stripped, and he received a lifetime ban. For a man representing the Soviet Union during the Cold War, this was not just cheating, it was embarrassing international theater with a sword. Number 14. Fred Lors. Fred Lors turned the 1904 St. Louis Olympic Marathon into less of a race and more of an early Uber commercial. After running about 9 miles, he got exhausted, called it quits, and then somehow found himself riding in a car for the next 11 miles. Very athletic, very inspiring. When the car broke down, Lors hopped back out, jogged into the stadium, and was greeted like the Olympic champion. The crowd cheered, officials celebrated, and for a brief shining moment, a man who had completed a suspiciously comfortable middle section of the marathon was treated like a hero. Once the truth came out, Loers claimed it was all just a joke, because apparently nothing says prank like accepting applause for winning an Olympic event you mostly commuted through. He was disqualified, the real winner got the medal, and Loers earned a permanent place in sports history, as the marathoner who discovered the fastest route to glory was not training, it was transportation. Number 15. Russia's doping scandal. Russia's Sochi 2014 scandal was not your average one athlete made a bad choice situation. This was cheating with office space paperwork and national ambition baked in. After the Winter Olympics, investigators uncovered a massive state-sponsored doping operation, with athletes allegedly using performance-enhancing drugs, while officials helped cover their tracks during testing. According to the findings, more than 1,000 Russian athletes across Olympic, Paralympic, summer and winter sports were involved in or benefited from manipulated doping controls. That is not a loophole, that is an entire highway system. The fallout was brutal bans, stripped medals, lost hosting rights, and years of Russia being forced to compete under restrictions instead of its own flag. Some punishments were later reduced and some medals were returned, but the damage was already done. Sochi was supposed to be Russia's grand Olympic showcase. Instead, it became a global scandal with snow syringes and the world's least subtle cover-up. Number 16. Spanish Paralympics basketball team. Spain's Paralympic basketball scandal at Sydney 2000 was so outrageous it almost sounds like a rejected sports comedy, except it actually happened. The team entered the tournament for athletes with intellectual disabilities, crushed the competition, won gold, and became national heroes back home. One small problem: many of the players reportedly did not have intellectual disabilities at all. They were simply recruited, put in uniforms, and sent out to win, like this was some twisted version of fake it till you make it. The scheme was exposed by Carlos Ribagorda, one of the players who was also an investigative journalist. He blew the whistle, revealing that the team's golden run was built on fraud, not fair play. The medal was stripped, officials resigned, and the scandal damaged trust in Paralympic classification for years. It was not just cheating, it was identity theft with a scoreboard. Spain got the gold, then got the shame that came with it. Number 17. Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong wasn't just a cyclist. He was marketed like a superhero on two wheels. The comeback story, the yellow jerseys, the icy stare, the whole never quit mythology. It was perfect American sports cinema. Then the credits rolled and the sequel turned into a courtroom drama with syringes. Armstrong won bronze in the individual time trial at Sydney 2000, but years later, after the doping machine around him finally cracked wide open, the IOC stripped him of that Olympic medal. Suddenly, the man who built an empire on endurance became the face of the biggest trust me bro scandal in cycling. For years, he denied, attacked critics, and rode the legend for everything it was worth. Then came the confession, and the brand collapsed faster than a bike with no chain. One bronze medal gone, 7 Tour de France titles erased, and a heroic legacy reduced to a very expensive lesson. When your greatest performance is the cover-up, the finish line eventually becomes a trap. Number 18. Tyler Hamilton. Tyler Hamilton's Olympic story had all the ingredients of a Hollywood cycling epic pain, grit, glory, and eventually a plot twist soaked in banned substances. At the 2004 Athens Games, the American cyclist powered through the individual time trial and rode away with gold, looking like the definition of iron-willed endurance. But years later, that shiny victory started rusting in public. After Hamilton admitted to doping, the IOC officially stripped him of his Olympic title in 2012, turning one of Team USA's proud podium moments into another chapter in cycling's great everybody-act-surprised era. The brutal part. This wasn't some tiny technical mistake or mystery supplement hiding in a protein shake. It was part of a bigger culture where needles, blood bags, and denial practically came with the team bus. Hamilton eventually gave up the medal, but by then the damage was already permanent. He didn't just lose gold, he lost the clean-cut hero narrative. One time trial, one confession, and one Olympic legacy that crossed the finish line years before the truth did. Number 18. Tyler Hamilton. Tyler Hamilton's Olympic story had all the ingredients of a Hollywood cycling epic pain, grit, glory, and eventually a plot twist soaked in banned substances. At the 2004 Athens Games, the American cyclist powered through the individual time trial and rode away with gold, looking like the definition of iron-willed endurance. But years later, that shiny victory started rusting in public. After Hamilton admitted to doping, the IOC officially stripped him of his Olympic title in 2012, turning one of Team USA's proud podium moments into another chapter in cycling's great everybody-act-surprised era. The brutal part. This wasn't some tiny technical mistake or mystery supplement hiding in a protein shake. It was part of a bigger culture where needles, blood bags, and denial practically came with the team bus. Hamilton eventually gave up the medal, but by then the damage was already permanent. He didn't just lose gold, he lost the clean-cut hero narrative. One time trial, one confession, and one Olympic legacy that crossed the finish line years before the truth did.